I just want to quickly say I've been watching this Ashton Aroha guy on YouTube. I mentioned him in a previous vlog where he was honestly on my nerves just from one of the videos that he did, but I've been watching more of his videos and it's actually so funny. And he does give what he believes to be good advice. For the most part, it's right. So as I said earlier, he's optimizing for short-term relationships. But if you really want to find a girl that's compatible for who you are, disguising yourself as the alpha, following characteristics that aren't actually who you are, won't result in finding the ideal girl. But where I do agree and where you do have to use your discretion is there are certain situations where you would want to incorporate his advice. So when I say his advice, I basically just mean any black pill pickup artist advice. The biggest thing is confidence. So even if you don't have confidence as a guy, you need to at least fake it. All guys should have confidence, especially for approaching girls. I remember seeing a stat that was it's always in my well not always in my it's always in my head. 90% of girls want the guy to approach them. And then that 10% is probably lying, if we're being real. So you have to acknowledge that you, as a guy, have to be confident. Even if you're not, you've got to at least take that initial step of presenting yourself, kind of like a job interview, if you will. You wouldn't wait for job interviewers to approach you to to ask you about jobs unless you're insanely talented and you already have insane experience and everyone knows your name. People aren't going to do that. You're going to have to present your resume, present who you are, and they're going to select. And that's just how it is. But so that's confidence. You need confidence when approaching a girl, but also, well, technically I was just talking about you need to approach a girl, but I didn't specify. It doesn't necessarily mean you need to specify. You need to specifically approach a girl with confidence, but that can be proven. Let's see. So just I can't back it up with stats. Just intuitively and through experience. There's every situation where a girl would prefer every situation where a girl would find some guy attractive, if that guy was more confident, she would find him even more attractive. You can't it's it's so hard to really put a finger on it and describe it, but if you act this way, if you act black pilled and pick up artist like, you'll see success, especially in first impressions. But after first impressions, that's where you can actually be yourself. You've already presented your resume, and now you want to show who you actually are, your substance, and then you filter out the girls from that. You could make the argument that you should filter out initially without having to do that red pilled pickup artist technique, but you need people to filter out in the first place to have a filter. Yeah, you need if you're gonna you, you need people in the first place to filter out. You can't just filter out no one. If you I'm sure you get what I mean. Confidence is insane. It's so important. Man. And you can fake it. Confidence is somewhat easy to fake. As you keep on faking it, it becomes easier to actually be confident. The trick is also tricking yourself into thinking you don't care. One of the tricks that he says is you the the pickup artist idea is to believe that women are below you. But that's not now obviously that's pretty misogynistic, but I mean it actually is, but what you have to believe is well not necessarily that, but you have to act as if you believe that. And from that, you'll act in such a way that you just present yourself as such a masculine figure with exuding confidence, if you will. There's also this point where you don't want to be a jerk. A lot of what turned me off of Ashton was just how much of a jerk he seemed. In all of his videos, almost all of his videos, you can see he's got glasses and he's reacting to the sunglasses and he's reacting to all of the videos. But I honestly believe it's kind of a joke. It's kind of a persona that he's putting on. It's not actually who he is. And you can see that he jokes around and he does regular male activities. But there's also this point where he focuses up and he says, "Listen, you just got to be the alpha male. You got to present yourself as such a jerk, such a masculine figure." And when I say jerk, I basically mean full of full of pride, completely arrogant, completely assertive, disregard for anyone else. You know that you're the best. You don't think that you're the best. You know that you're the best. No one's better than you. Just full of arrogance. I'm sure you can picture it. And that's the type of male that you would want to be as a pickup artist. I don't think you should use those much of those techniques though. A lot of it is going to conflict with who you actually are as a person. I mean, I would consider myself pretty nice, generally nice. And you can tell just by my characteristics, but there's also situations where I can be very strict. And that's when I honestly, I've been trying to bring that out more recently, realizing that this is more of being strict, being assertive is going to be more of a masculine trait. And that's something that I've neglected for my entire life, really. In fact, I've fostered more feminine traits than masculine traits. I think that's a product of just being in school. In school, you have to be obedient to the teacher. You have to be obedient to all these people, and there's no questioning it. You you're lulled into you're indoctrinated into little working slaves, and you don't really think for yourself. You're molded. So it's so clear too. But now's my time to break out of the mold. Actually, though, I have agency in what I who I want to be. I'm experimenting with this assertiveness. For now, it's just been, I think, just a week, really. It's been proven to be difficult. The way I gauge assertiveness is usually asking questions. So when I'm hanging out with friends, or when I'm with friends, or when I'm texting friends, I'll ask them questions to see if they're interested in what I'm doing. But now, recently, with the assertiveness goal, I've been saying, I'm going to do this. Join me. Not even, would you like to join me? Join me. And it works for the most part. If somebody has something they actually need to do, they'll say, actually, I'm really busy. I have an assignment due today. I can't go with you. But anything that's even slightly less important, they'll seriously consider. Because it's a command. People are compelled to follow that. But there's also, see, I'm conflicted as well because there's times where I don't want people, if they want to join me, they can. But I don't want to force them to join me just because I'm making it a demand. I want them to acknowledge that it's a statement and they can choose to refuse just as well as they can choose to accept. It doesn't mean that they're always more likely, they shouldn't always be more likely to accept than to refuse. But that's just how the way it is. The way you speak to people, the way you ask questions, the way you phrase questions. I mean, the way you present information, not even phrasing questions in the example that I gave. I'm doing something. Come with me. Do this with me. It's fun though. It's fun being more masculine. It doesn't feel authentic, but I know at first when I was very introverted, it didn't feel authentic being very extroverted, talking to a bunch of people. But now I've just gotten used to it that it feels normal. Recently I've pulled back from being so extroverted just because people are annoying. It's really hard to get people that are it's really hard to meet friends that are so similar to me. And I've already met, I would say, my best friend, Will. So what's the point in searching for more friends that are like that? I've already reached the optimal level of compatibility. What's the point in continuing searching for this another friend that's equally as compatible? The chances that I find that friend, the chances that that friend even exists, that would be equally or more compatible than Will is extremely slim, especially in a university with 30,000. I think the population is 30,000 people. It might even be 15,000. Because 15,000, that's like nothing. You could go to, not a high school, but it's like nothing. And the way we think is so different from the cultural norm. Especially in Canada, the views that we have are considered polarizing, right wing, strongly right wing. Meanwhile, everyone is central or left wing. And everyone's in op. Everyone's on your case. The So going back to this Ashton guy though, he is really entertaining. I will say, I recommend watching. Or I recommend watch if you want his Tinder dating. Just all of the Tinder texts. They're so funny. They're so entertaining. And I kind of live vicariously through that because I never want to go on Tinder. I never want to sign up for Tinder. I don't want my brain to be absolutely crushed by just gamifying dating. Not even that, just losing, constantly losing at dating. That'd be so discouraging. It's fine to get losses, but at such a brutal level like Tinder, it'll mess up your mind. It'd just be better not to do it. But it's fun watching. It's fun watching people do this. It's fun watching people message. The way he messages too, he's got some interesting techniques like the whipped cream method. And they seem to work so well. I do no justice describing it. Highly recommend watching. Watch if you want. He's yeah, he's pretty chill. He's a cool guy. I've changed my mind about him being a jerk, being an annoying little fella. I don't know if I'd really want to be someone like him though. I would want to pick and choose some aspects of highly masculine traits that he seems to possess in his videos. But I don't think I could collect all of those traits. I don't think it'd be good to collect all of those traits. That's just how it be. I'm gonna experiment a lot more in my life. Gonna change so many things throughout the course of my life, throughout my years on this planet. And I guess I have this vlog series to update for an update on every time I change. Every day. Daily vlogs from now on. We love vlogging. All right, I'm done.